You are now listening to The Final Word, the number one Pacers podcast on the web, hosted by me, Raj, and my son, Preston. Pop by to listen to what we have to say about the state of your Indiana Pacers. Welcome back to another episode of The Final Word, the number one Pacers podcast on the web. I'm your host, Raj.
And I'm your co-host, Preston. We have a great show lined up for you today. But before we get to that, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to The Final Word. But most importantly, hit that bell icon if you're watching on YouTube so you'll never miss a show. Plus, it would really help the production of the show.
Yes, it would. So, Preston, the Pacers, our Indiana Pacers, had a great game against the Milwaukee Bucks this past Thursday. Some great things happened. Some things happened I didn't really expect to really see. So the Pacers were on the good side of a blowout. They blew out the Bucks 139 to 123. Typically, Pacers are on the other side of that blowout. And typically, if they win, it's usually not a blowout.
If I thought they had a good chance of winning this game, but not this much. They really surprised me.
I thought they had zero chance of winning this game.
Really?
Yes, because we didn't have Tyrese. We didn't have Benedict Mathurin, two of our stars for the team. And they had Giannis. And they had Chris Middleton, as well as Drew Holiday. So you would think, and especially since they were playing in Pfizer Forum Arena, which they've never won in, you would think that's an automatic win. But the Pacers had something different to say about it. So the game honestly started off pretty ugly. It looked like it's going to be a blowout in the other direction. Yeah, Nembhard was not looking good in the beginning. He was not distributing the ball properly, nor was he knocking down shots. He shot 4 shots in a row that did not go in, and the coach shortly pulled him to replace him with TJ McConnell. McConnell had a great game.
McConnell had a great game.
You can always depend on TJ McConnell. He's a guy you just need on your team. He's always high energy. Kind of like how you can always expect Russell Westbrook to be high energy and always give 110%. Same thing goes for McConnell, minus some of Russell's athleticism. But actually, I wouldn't even say minus the, I'd say minus the athleticism, but not minus the shooting, because he's been knocking down these threes as of lately.
Yeah. And the mid-ranges. He's great at those. Sweet spot. Under the right wing in the mid-range. That's a really good spot for him. Right around the elbow area. But yeah. Nembhard was a lot of the reason why it was such a slow start for the Pacers. And he was kind of being like, I guess like a little selfish in sort of a sense, like not really being like a point guard and not really being a pass first point guard, but more of like a score first point guard, and his shots weren't really falling for him. So it was a good choice for coach to take him out and put in McConnell, because McConnell started to get things clicking. Then Nembhard was like, all right, team ball, it's the Bucks, we're gonna not just me have to score, the whole team has to get going on the flow. So, and then they switched that, and the entire team started to play phenomenal. And there was a lot of team ball going on. And that's like, without Tyrese, we've shown how good we can really be. So
exactly, and it's very, it's a good sign, honestly. And so I'll say this: some people, we actually had a high number of assists. I think we had like, you guys can look this up. I think we had like 39 assists for that game, which is pretty darn amazing considering Tyrese wasn't playing. But they were, like Preston was saying, team ball was at an all-time high for this team, and it was a good sight to see. And another good sight to see, which is something I always love to see on the floor in a Pacers jersey, is the one and only George Hill. My man George Hill, Indiana George. He was unleashed this last Thursday. So, Preston, me and you were talking about this, and I think I was talking this to my dad also. I was like, what's going on? George Hill, when he's in there, he's not trying to score. Like, what's going on? Like, as soon as he gets the ball, he passes it, like, very quickly.
I think this game, they just told him, hey, go get busy. Do your stuff. So
that's exactly what happened. They said, hey, George, this is your old team. You are unleashed. Give them the business. And that he did. He gave them the business. He was dropping threes on them left and right. He knocked down 3 threes in the game, 2 of them back to back. Smooth threes too.
It's nice.
Smooth threes. So I was like, yes, George Hill. This is the George Hill I know. He turned back into aggressive George Hill. What were you saying, Preston?
Yeah, this is like a little glimpse of like aggressive George Hill again, because he's a little older and he's not as aggressive and he doesn't attack as much. But still, this man came up with 15 points and he was 5. So he attempted 6 shots and made 5 of them. He was 83% from field goal, which I was like, goodness. I mean, I was not expecting this, but that was also part of the reason why we won that game, because he was like, coach was probably thinking, if we're gonna beat the Bucks, we need everybody scoring as much as we can. If there's a person with the potential to score a lot, like George Hill with the 15 points he had today, then he needs to get him going. So I think he told him, hey, if you have an opportunity to shoot that. Don't be like that little veteran who's just there to help the team, like kind of like another assistant coach in a sense, like, but on the court. But like to really like get going and start it up.
Yeah, just to get going and start it up. There's my lovely wife, Preston's mother, once again. But yeah, it was a great sight to see George Hill on the court doing what he knows how to do best. It was beautiful. Yeah, they just took the leash off and said, "Go get at it." And honestly, guys, if you remember, one of the last games when George Hill was actually in the Bucks, he was key in the Bucks coming back to beat us. Mm-hmm. When we were playing well, beating the Bucks initially when we were there before, and when TJ McConnell had that, I think he had a 25-point first half or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was something like that.
Yeah, so George Hill knows how to play. So for whoever these Indiana fans are who don't think George Hill knows how to play,
he knows how to play.
For whatever reason, just think he's not really, worth the time on the court. You can see he definitely is worth the time on the court. So that being said, TJ McConnell, like I said, he had a great game as well. It was great to see him on the court as well. But one person we did not see on the court was Chris Duarte.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Duarte got no play on the court at all.
I'm glad.
You're glad about that?
Yes. 0 seconds on the court. Glad.
Why are you glad about that?
After not last game, but 2 games ago, after how he played, doesn't deserve it. Honestly, like, I thought they would give him some minutes, but it's looking like they're getting ready for him to get out of here, because the fact that he didn't play any, coach was probably like, okay, Duarte, you're doing like, and coach also, because he's probably not seeing as much in practice too, because if you're not going to give a guy like who was a starter and then not give him any minutes, like, okay, after one bad game, but then like consistently not being accurate or not being consistent, and then also he probably is seeing some.
Hey guys, we hope you've enjoyed this podcast snippet. If you'd like to continue the conversation with Preston and I, just click on the next video. But always be sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you'll be automatically notified each time we release a new episode. But until then, Martin says...